pickety third ending, don't you? Anyway, today I want to talk about electric acoustics. I get a lot of people coming over here to my little front room of guitars, and they initially want a guitar. When they get here, they suddenly decide, well, I might as well get one with a pickup. So what can you expect for an entry-level electric acoustic guitar? Well, there are some made very, very, very cheaply, under $100 even. There's quite a few brands online, eBay and other such auction sites, where you can pick them up very, very cheaply. Normally they are Linden or basswood plywood guitars with very, very cheap electronics, numerous problems with setup and build quality, and I would pretty much, with a few exceptions which we've covered in some of our videos, I would pretty much avoid one of those and go to the next level, around 120, 140, 160, and find something that's not high-end, but something a little better made, with electronics that are going to work and sound decent. I've got a couple of examples to show you. These are featured in previous videos, so they won't be, if you've watched a few of my videos, you may recognize them. The first is this monoprice guitar. It's made by Idlewild. It's called the Foothill guitar. I just picked up 3 or 4 of these very, very cheaply. They all had little tiny issues which I've corrected, and now they're available for sale. But this is the Red Burst model version of it. And what it is your standard spruce ply top with mahogany back and sides, reasonable red finish if that's your thing, with a sort of tortoiseshell pickguard, the very standard cream binding throughout, your purfled rosette, rosewood bridge and fretboard with mother of pearl, and then reasonable die-cast chrome tuners. This thing has a just a proprietary, their own brand of equalizer. They probably contracted out, but it's not a brand name. It just says EQ 7549R on it. It's got your standard volume and then a 3 EQ sliders and a presence slider. And I found that the electronics on these are perfectly reasonable, and you can pick these up, I don't know, anywhere between, let's say, 120 and 180, so maybe, from monoprice. The price fluctuates. Sometimes you can get them very cheaply. I've done a full setup on this. It was fairly horrendous, and I've leveled the frets and done a fret end bevel, set the action, which was way off, got it playing nicely, and I think I've got it listed for 140 with a bag, something like that. But I mean, this is where you should start with a electric acoustic. Now obviously you rely less on the tone of the guitar. Well, this is up for debate, but most people rely less on the tone of the guitar when electrifying it, because you can EQ it and play with your settings through your amp or through your outboard gear. So it's not 100% necessary to get a nice solid top guitar with an electric acoustic. You can actually make these sound fairly decent with good electronics and good outboard gear, good amp. This thing sounds great through my little Fishman acoustic amp. Of course, with a really nice solid top electric acoustic, you're amplifying that acoustic sound. So if you've got a really good electronics like Fishman or Shadow or something like that, you're probably going to get a slightly nicer bass sound to start with, but then you're probably going to play with that sound as well. So I've had a lot of people who come in here and they wouldn't buy this if it were acoustic alone. And the fact that it's got electronics on it, they'll buy it because it works just fine and is a good value for the price. And these are made by Idlewild, but this one has the monoprice monogram on there. Some of them have the Idlewild, some of them have the Monoprice. But I found that these are really decent, good entry-level electric acoustic guitars and are very reliable. I don't see much difference between these and your entry-level Alvarez, Ibanez electric acoustics. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised if they're even made in the same factory. For a slightly different shape of electric acoustic, I've got this guy here, and I've had sort of mixed results with these guitars. These are Echo guitars. There's an Italian company. There's the headstock. And sometimes I get these and they're really decent for the money. I mean, they are sort of entry level to mid-range guitars. I had a couple of these lately that I did not shoot a video on. They were standard Dreadnought solid top Echoes that I returned because the necks were so badly humped. I could not correct them with fretwork. So I returned them and said I don't want replacements. And this one came in the same package, and this one's fine. So Echo's one of these companies that you have to sort of play it by ear. Sometimes you get a really good deal, and sometimes I think they're fairly substandard. But this is a very popular sort of NEX body, thin line, auditorium, cutaway, electric acoustic. Lots of companies are making a variant of this particular guitar. It's got a squared off neck here, so you can get good purchase on the top positions in the neck. It's very comfortable. It's a nice size. Again, it has all the same accoutrements, cream binding, rosewood parts, reasonable tuners with black caps, nothing branded or anything like that. But with the setup, this one sounds just fine. And the electronics on this are done by Echo, but they're sort of a copy of the Fishman ISIS system. I don't know if you can see it from there, but you've got your push-pull phase button, your very standard 3-knob EQ, your attachable automatic tuner that cuts off the sound, a volume. Yeah, it's reasonable. I mean, it's not as good as the Fishman systems, but on a guitar of this vintage, I think it works just fine. And these even sell on Amazon for as much as $199, $249, somewhere around there. But you can find them in the $140, $160, $180 price range. And again, it's a high gloss top. It's not a solid top, but it's durable. They're pretty well made. And you know, the electronics are reasonable. I got people buying this type of stuff to play worship music in their church or to play small gigs. So you can get a reasonable electric acoustic guitar and set it up and have good results in the 120, 140, 160 price range if you can look around and do a bit of setup work or find somebody that can do it for you. So just a couple of examples of entry-level, what I consider entry-level electric acoustics, not buying the really poorly made eBay bargain bin guitars that are selling for $70, $80 and they're just absolutely horrid when you receive them. Paying a bit more, getting the proper parts and materials, reasonable woods, okay craftsmanship, and decent electronics, and having a serviceable electric acoustic without too much investment. All right, yeah, I'm still healing here. I'm managing to walk a little bit. It's slow going. It's been a week and a half now. I can put weight on this knee, but boy, it's a humbling experience having a knee ligament injury. But I'm getting through it, and it hasn't stopped me working on guitars and meeting customers and all that. So thankfully, it's not been too much of a intrusion on my life. But yeah, it takes a while. All right, thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time.